Okay, I would like to start out by introducing Ruby to you and first answering the question, what is Ruby? So, you probably already know that Ruby is a programming language. It is a language that was created in Japan in 1995 by Yukihiro Matsumoto. People just call him Mats for short. Ruby has a syntax or a language structure that is a lot like Perl, Python, and Smalltalk. In fact, Matsumoto said that when he created Ruby, he was trying to create a language that was more powerful than Perl and more object-oriented than Python. Now, if you don't know any of those other languages, that's not a problem. I am going to teach you everything about Ruby that you need to know. But if you do already attended my course Perl, that could help you and will be a little bit, you will be having a head start and you will recognize a lot of things in Ruby as we go through them. So I have to mention here, Ruby is not a compiled language. Some other languages like C++, Java, or Visual Basic, a compiled language that usually where you write a code and then you have to run it through another computer program or compiler in order to come out with an application that you can actually run at the end. Well, instead, Ruby is an interpreted language. So we are going to write our code and then you will just get interpreted straight from the code when we are ready to run it. So we are not going to have to go through this extra step of compiling it into something that will run. So our code will run on its own. But we are going to need to have a Ruby interpreter to do that. So in the video of the installation section for Mac and Windows, you can have all the steps that you need to install Ruby interpreter and to see how you can run Ruby. Okay, so what about some other stuff that we have to talk about in Ruby? And mainly, why Ruby? So first of all, if you heard of object-oriented, Ruby is fully object-oriented. Now, if you're not familiar with object-oriented, we will talk about it a lot more, and I will see how I can show you the good things that you can do with object-oriented. Now, I have to mention that everything in Ruby is an object. So that's a really nice way to work. Once you are used to working with object, Ruby also should be one of the most popular languages that you will feel easy to use and understand object-oriented through it. Ruby has also easily readable code. So that's very important. It's like English. So when you call a procedure like sort or reverse, it does what you think of it is going to do for you. So what else? So you will not see any unsurprising syntax or any naming behavior that you will interpret it in the language. It will be very easy and familiar for you. Now, what else? White spaces. It's another nice feature that is common in a lot of languages now, that is white spaces. So Ruby is one of those languages. What else? No semicolon. So if you worked with semicolon in other languages like PHP, for example, you are going to love the fact that you don't have to worry about the trailing semicolon at the end. Ruby can sort it out for you. Last of all, Ruby has a lot of what we call syntactic sugar. That means that the syntax of the language is such that it helps you out. It does nice things for you or allows you to write things in a simple way so that we can have sort of shortcut for ourselves. So that's the sugar. The opposite of sugar is the syntax vinegar, so it is a pleasant way of working with the syntax. And there are a lot of nice bits of syntactic sugar in Ruby, and we'll see those and we will learn the basic of them. Also, I would like to talk about some of the misconception between Ruby and Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails is it's a web framework so it's been written by Ruby. So it is using Ruby to build the web framework. So when you are talking about Ruby on Rails, we are talking about web framework that helps you build, for example, websites. But when we are talking about Ruby by itself, we're just talking about the language. It is multi-purpose language, and it's not just for the web. So we'll see how the exercises that we're gonna touch base on and the upcoming lectures will help you understand Ruby more. So let's go ahead now and install Ruby Interpreter to be able to work with Ruby. I have to mention that the language will provide you a lot of dynamic way and creativity and modern way of building applications with Ruby. The book that I'm going to use is Programming Ruby, and it's a really popular book and is already available in the bookstore. So that's it for this presentation, and get ready for installing your interpreter.